Hello players, welcome to another beautiful game that was played between Mikhail Botvinnik and Vitaly Chekhover. This game was played in Moscow in 1935. Botvinnik was one of the strongest players at that time. He had the World Chess Championship title 3 times. Botvinnik is one of my favorite players. This game is an absolute masterpiece, so I suggest you to watch the game until the end without skipping. In this game, Botvinnik used the white pieces whereas Chekhover used the black pieces. The game starts with nf3 and d5 followed by c4. This is English opening. Black responds with e6. This is Ajinkov defense. This is an unusual opening for black. Most of the players wouldn't consider playing this defense. Then white plays b3, then knight f6, then bishop b2 and bishop e7. Now e3, black castles on his king side, then bishop e2, c6, and then white castles on his king side. Then knight bd7, then knight c3, now a6 and knight d4. Until now none of the pieces have been captured. Now black starts to exchange the pieces, d cross c4 and b cross c4. Now knight c5, then f4, then queen c7, then knight f3, now rook d8, then queen c2. Now knight c d7, he must be planning to bring the knight to this f8 square, then d4, c5, now knight e5 and b6. Black's white square bishop is not yet developed. The only way to bring it out is by this way. That's the reason he played b6. Now bishop d3 and c cross d4 and e cross d4. Now bishop e7 and queen e2 and knight f8. Now this d pawn is under attack, so he needs to protect this. So white plays knight d1. Now the bishop protects this d pawn. Now rook a7 and knight f2. Queen b8 and knight h3. Now black understands that white is trying to bring his knight to this square g5. So in order to prevent it, black plays h6. Now the game becomes very interesting. White doesn't care about this pawn. He just plays knight g5. Now black really doesn't understand what white is trying to do, but he is really scared of these two knights, so he plays h cross g5. He accepts the sacrifice and white plays f cross g5. Now if black tries to save this knight by playing knight h7, then white will play queen h5. There will be a tremendous pressure for black in this f7 square as well as the h7 square. So there is no point in saving this knight. He moves the other knight to d7 square so that there will be some room for the king to escape. Now everyone would obviously think white is gonna capture this knight with this pawn, but that's not true. Botvinnik had other plans and that's the reason he was the world chess champion for 3 times. He plays knight cross f7, then king cross f7, now g6 check, then king e8 and queen cross e6 check. The only square left for black king is h8, because if he comes here then queen f7 will be a checkmate. So he moves to h8. Now queen h3 check, king g8, now bishop e6. White now tries to bring his bishop here so that the black will be checkmated very easily in a couple of moves. So black needs to prevent this bishop coming to the square. So black plays knight f8, then bishop e6 check, then knight cross bishop, queen cross bishop check. Now again the king cannot move to this square, so he moves to h8. Again same check, queen h3, then king g8, then rook cross knight and bishop cross knight. Now king h7 check, king f8. And now just compare both the players' pieces. Black is up by a whole rook and a bishop, but still white has a very beautiful combination to win the game. White plays rook e1. Now there is going to be a checkmate if white queen goes to h8, as the e file is protected by this rook and this square is protected by this pawn. So black has no other move. The only way to prevent this mate is by playing bishop e5, and that's what black played in this game as well. Then queen h8, king e7, now queen cross g7 check. Black cannot capture this queen as the rook is behind. Now king d6, queen cross e5 check, king d7, queen f5 check, king c6. Black cannot move here as the white will bring his rook. Then black has to block with this rook. Then queen cross rook will be a checkmate. So that's the reason black played king c6. Now d5 check, then king c5. Now bishop a3 check, king cross c4 and queen e4 check, king c3, then bishop b4 check, king b2, then finally queen b1 is a checkmate. In this game's second half, most of the black's moves were forced. The king had to move all over from 8th rank to 2nd rank and finally got checkmated. This is one of the very famous games of Botvinnik. He made a very bold sacrifice and the winning combination was mind-blowing. I really hope you all enjoyed this game very much. I suggest you to subscribe to my channel right now for more interesting chess games like this. Let's meet in another battle. Thank you.